Okay, so I'm back in Adobe Acrobat, and this time I'm going to look at how to build your portfolio in Acrobat's the old name, Adobe Express. So let's close these. I'll go back into Creative Cloud and I'll open up the Adobe Express. And there is a lot of stuff here. It is a little bit overwhelming. A lot of different purposes here. So we want to go to plus over here in the upper left and just scroll down and find web page. We have a lot of templates. Again, I'm going to avoid all of these. They're very imagey. They're very sort of hallmarky. They're going to draw away from your artwork. The artwork starts to look like, it's not really artwork. It's just sort of an image for graphic design. We want to scroll all the way down and just pick create your own. Okay, so here we are. Again, I can come in at any time and I can choose different styles. Let's see what I have. I haven't worked with Luca, so let's see what Luca does. And the first thing I'm going to do is add an image. So the plus sign is a clickable option to open and add type or imagery. So I'm going to add a photo. And it's good to have your photos in a folder on your computer, by the way. I have my portfolio right here. So you're not fishing around with them. It's just a little bit more efficient. I'm going to upload from device and I'm going to go to desktop portfolio and let me just grab a screenshot. I'll try this one today. And click open. So you can add JPEGs, looks like screenshots, they're probably PNGs. You cannot add Photoshop documents or digital negatives or anything. I don't know if PDFs can come in. I usually use JPEGs. So that just popped in my image and it just sort of sized it to fit. I'm going to click here and I'm going to add a title. There we go. That's my title for today. And then I'm going to add my name. This can be moved. You can move this around. I know you can move it around. I might have to look. Yeah, there it is. You could put it up at the top, or you could, depending on what's going on with your image, you could decide where to put it. And that's a little intrusive down there. I'll just put it up here for now. Yep, I'll just put it up there. Okay. Scroll to write your story. So any plus mark is just going to open up for a bunch of opportunities. So I'm going to click text and I'm going to type in composition and design. And then if I highlight that, I have some different options here. So I have heading, which is the largest, subheading, medium, and body text. So I'm going to go with the largest one here. Again, I can right, left, center it, bold. I guess we don't have those options here. Strange. Okay. Here's where I can add in text for my project statement. You could also put the project statement after the artwork if you want. Let's just try that and see how that works. So I'm going to click the plus in between and I'm just going to go first with photo grid. I'm going to go to upload from device and come over here. I've got my composition images already set up. I'm just going to grab them and click open. And it went ahead and added those in. Okay, I'm going to click save And maybe I just want to do a little view here. I don't know why the first one puts this big gap, but it does every time. Very strange. So I'll have to look at that again. And I'm not really fond of that style, so I'm going to go to a different style. And let's go back to Trek. I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. All right, so you can move stuff around like that. I'm going to come down and I'm going to add in the next one. Oh, that was triangle. I'm going to make that into the heading size, and I'm just going to add my project statement. And so now we did the grid. Let's look at the split layout. I'm going to add that in. So this one you can choose where you want your main image and where you want your additional images. And you can flip them back and forth at any time. So I'm going to go into Add Image, Upload from Device, and let's come over to Triangle Compositions. And I think I put, well, there's my vertical. So I put Henry Cartier-Bresson for that one. And then over here, I'm going to add in the other two. And say I wanted a third image, I could come here and I could come back in. Maybe I forgot something. I'll just grab an image. I don't think, I'll just grab this one even though it's not really triangulating. So you can add images. It looks like you can move them up and down. So you can change the order of them. You can also change the order here. You can move things around. That's interesting. Oh, that moved it above project statement and down below. Okay. You can usually move the order of the grid. If you want to change your images around. I actually don't like that one in the middle. Maybe I'll put that one. Actually, I like this one on the side, but I might want that one in the middle. So you can click on grids and open them, and you can move the images around in there. You can delete them if you don't want that image after all. I won't share right now. The only thing you can't do is just copy. I can't copy this whole grid and decide to put it down here. I just have to delete it. If I put things out of order, I have to delete that and make a new one. All right, so let's add text, and then our next one was selective focus. I'm going to take heading again for the largest one, and I'm just going to put in project statement. That wasn't very good. And what haven't I done? I haven't done photo. We did photo grid, we did split layout. Let's do photo grid or photo. And I'll come to selective focus and I'll add these three in. So we have inline, fit in screen, which is a little overwhelming. I don't recommend that. You don't actually see your whole image. Window. That's a rollover window, which is good for an accent, but it's not good to show your whole image. You want, for your portfolio, you want these images to be seen. Full width. again, a little overwhelming. When you're showing your portfolio to someone, you want them to be able to see the whole image. So I'm going to go back to inline is probably the best one. That's the default for each one of these. Okay, so I have 3 of them now, and that shows you the 3 different views. Let's look at adding in a rollover. So I'm going to click on the plus here, and I'm going to try a glide show. I guess you can add more than one image. I think that's a little excessive for each glide, but you can try it out. And it brings a little pop-up box. If you don't add any text here, it will disappear. But you can add a little text. I think I said something like, because that moment was exactly like an Italian movie when this lady rode in with the sunset behind her and this group of guys sort of like walking after her and admiring her. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I would use these glide shows, selectively. You don't want to have a whole bunch at once right after each other, or it's sort of hard to digest those, but it's a nice break in between groups of images to add a little something in. And I'm going to leave this blank, so we'll see how it disappears. At the bottom, you can add in, this is a button. If you have a website, for instance, you can title the button as you like. You can check out my website. But if you do that, it'll be a clickable button, but they won't actually know what your website is, pretty sure. Put it in the center. So it says check out my website, but it doesn't actually say the website, so I could edit that. And I could add that information here if I want to. It's all up to you. You could add in a little thank you or a little final image, anything like that. Okay, so let's look at the presentation now. So there's your first group. We have a little glide rollover. You could even add something, a bit of text here to introduce that rollover. And here comes the floating text. So here I didn't add a floating text bar, so it just disappeared. And your individual images. Okay. I'm going to get out of presentation mode back into edit mode, and just, then we could come over here and we could look at different options. Just explore the different options to see how they affect your image. You can also set this up to work for a cell phone. So one of the things you can do for the cell phone is to click on these and to place the focal point. Because when the cell phone brings up these images, sometimes it doesn't show the whole image at once. You can, I guess you can't do focal point on that. Let's see. You can do focal point here. So it's going to help center that image, the most important area, the focal point. It's going to make sure it shows that in a cell phone. As a matter of fact, focal point, it just gave you an image of the cell phone over here to show how that image is going to first come up. window. So this one doesn't have a focal point option. I guess because it's small enough, it's going to be nicely in line. But for any large images, it will try to ask for a focal point. And that's mostly to align it for your cell phone. This should be able to be moved around. There we go. So I want to make sure it's not in my main subject area, that kind of area. It might be better to have it over here. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do much about changing the type of box I have here. That's built into the theme style, but we can move it around. Okay, so when I'm done, I just click over to the share button, publish to the web, and I can give it a title here. Give myself credit. Author is me, so I'll go ahead and put that on. And I've never done that. I guess you can password protect it and create a link. So I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it in. Boom. And your website comes up. So you can send this link to anybody. They don't have to have an Adobe membership. They can open this and they can view your image. They can view your work. It's a great way to share your portfolios for a job, to get a show somewhere if you want to show somebody your work, things like that. Or just for your own record keeping. It's really nice to share it with your friends or family. So say I went in and I'm like, oh, I did make a mistake here. I put that photograph in twice. So I can come back over, and now I'm back in the working mode, the editing mode, because you can see all this information. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to click on this. I'm going to replace it. So I'm going to go back over there. And that was triangle compositions, so it looks like I didn't get this one. Nope, still did the wrong one. Replace it, upload from device, drop her in. By the way, you can add titles here for anything, for your images if you have them. And just for fun, I'm going to go in, I'm going to change this to nightcap. Okay, and now I'm going to share it again. I'm just going to write publish to the web and republish. Okay, I'm going to go back to that same link that I had here, that say you sent this to your friend and then you realized you had an error. I'm just going to refresh that link, and automatically it is refreshed everything. So this is awesome because you can add things to it on the fly. If somebody says, can I see more of this project, you can add it in and republish it, and they already have the link. So there's the new image. Yeah. Great way to share your portfolio. Virtually no storage space. It's just a live link. And I believe that Adobe Acrobat is free to use as well as free to share portfolios. So if you don't have access to Adobe after you finish this class, you still should be able to use Adobe Express. Okay, there you go.